Good morning, and we are in chapter 2 of Joshua, and we've got one of the more interesting stories, I think, of Rahab, and we're going to just go into that, but I want to read a little bit. What is the significance? What it was significant about Rahab's actions? Rahab became an unlikely hero for Israel. Considering her reputation as a harlot in Jericho, she was identified by New Testament writers as an example of both faith and good works. After helping the Israelite spies escape, Rahab declared her belief that the Lord was God and that he had given Israel the land. I think it's important to note that, but not only that, but what's not written in this text, I think, is the fact that she must have stayed true to the faith that she saw in Israel, not just in Israel, but in Israel's God. Look how we have this. Rahab's experience shares an interesting similarity with the deliverance of the children of Israel from Egypt. Like the Israelites who were spared from the destroying angel after placing the blood of the lamb on their doorposts, Rahab and her family were spared from Jericho's destruction by placing a line of scarlet in their window. I remember when they put the blood of the lamb on the doorsteps. That was to remind us of Jesus Christ and his atonement. Think about this lady who, at least in her culture, was considered probably a little bit of an outcast. I don't know exactly what it meant that she was a harlot in that time, other than what we would have expected it to mean. But it kind of puts it into light. Here she wants to change. She wants to have a new life, and she wants to do it through Christ, through the God of Israel. And to do that, she needs to be spared, and she's spared by putting this thread in the window. Rahab and her family became part of Israel's nation in the promised land. While there is no further mention of Rahab in the Old Testament, she is mentioned in Matthew as an ancestor of Christ. Now, I think that's really interesting. Here she has this, she saves Israel, and her own descendant will save all of mankind. And I think that's significant. I can't say she saved Israel. She saved the spies of Israel. And that is enough. There's this story, I don't know. It's really interesting to see how she responds to them, and also to realize that Israel isn't overtaking these countries simply to destroy everybody. It's to destroy the wickedness that was in those things, in those places, and that's what God wasn't abiding. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, "Go view the land, even Jericho." And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, "Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. So they weren't like really too stealthy, I guess. And they even know where they are. The king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which entered into thine house, for they be come to search out the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, There came 2 men unto me, she doesn't deny it, but wist I not whence they were. I don't know where they came from. And it came to pass that the time of the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, the men went out. Whither the men went, I wot not. I don't know where they went. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. She basically said, I think they went out that gate. If you follow them, you might be able to catch them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords, and soon as they which pursued them were gone out, they shut the gate. Pretty much as late at night, they just, okay, let's go get them. Oh, we'll shut the gates, and that looks like that's it. Nobody's getting in or out. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and said unto them, I know that the Lord hath given you the land. Notice how she says that. I know. I have a testimony of this. I know. And that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the earth faint because of you. Or in the words here, it's probably melt away with fear. For we have heard. Notice, this is important to me when I'm reading this. We have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea for you when ye came out of Egypt, and how ye did and what ye did unto the kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. They know these things, and they've known about the Red Sea for over 40 years. And the things in Egypt, it says that they did. They knew these things, and yet they didn't repent. She did, but it doesn't look like the people did. They just got scared, basically. And as soon as we had heard these things in our hearts, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God, in heaven above and earth beneath. There's her second testimony, that it is God that's leading them, and yet people are frightened of them rather than turning to God himself and getting their own testimony. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, that ye will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. The men answered, Our life for yours, if ye utter not our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, Get to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of this thine oath which thou hast made us swear. We'll be innocent. In other words, they're going to, if they keep the oath, they will be innocent of anything, in the sense of they're going to keep their oath. And if they keep their oath, then they'll be blameless of anything from that. Behold, when we come into land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window which thou didst let us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all the father's household home with thee. And it shall be, whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head. Can you see the similarities to the to Egypt and the sign of the blood on the doorposts? And if everybody stays where the Lord has told them to, then they'll be safe. If not, their blood shall be upon their heads. And he will be guiltless, and whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be upon our head, if any hand be upon him. And if thou utter his business, then we will be quiet of thine oath which thou hast, will be quit of thine oath which thou hast made us swear. And she said, According unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. In other words, they went where the easiest route out of town. They went rather than the mountains, and they didn't see him. So the 2 men returned and descended from the mountain and passed over and came to Joshua son of Nun, and told him all the things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, Surely the Lord hath delivered unto our hands all the land, for even the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. That's a big difference between that report and the report that Joshua, when Joshua came in 40 years earlier, he gave that same sort of report, but the 10 of the 12 people who came back did not give that kind of report. But now it seems they're on board, and they believe they can do whatever the Lord wants them to do. So hopefully we get from this story some really interesting information about Jesus Christ and how he works in the lives of those less likely, unlikely, that we would think unlikely. And sometimes the heroes are not always the people we think they are, but they could be just someone whom we don't expect.